A Varanasi court is set to issue an order tomorrow on a fresh mandir-masjid issue, which is now snowballed into a huge controversy. What's the Gyanvapi Masjid controversy all about? Some details. The key issue is whether land, which some say is temple land, should be handed over to the Hindu community. The Kashi Vishwanath Gyanvapi complex is home to an 18th century mosque and a 17th century an 18th century temple and a 17th century mosque. They're next to each other. The petitioners have argued that this was the site of an old Shiva temple demolished by the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb. An old religious debate has snowballed into a major political controversy. The fresh dispute began after a group of women wanted to worship Hindu idols on the outer wall of the masjid. The masjid committee objected to a court-appointed survey team filming inside the mosque premises. Now, litigation in this case actually dates back all the way to 1936. The title dispute began in 1991. Tomorrow is an absolutely critical day when the court in Varanasi, the civil court, will issue an order on when this survey might actually take place. Joining us now, Dr. Faizan Mustafa, Shant Prakash Jatav, Ajay Gautam, Geeta Bhatt, Athar Hussain and Sudhindra Bhadoria. I'd like to thank you all very much for being with us tonight. The Gyanvapi Masjid controversy is what we are looking at on the program. Mosque or mandir, for how long can we keep digging the past? That's the question which I'm asking. Dr. Mustafa, this has been something which has existed peacefully for time immemorial, and this is again another masjid mandir issue. Can we keep digging indefinitely to find out its archaeological past?
Vishnu, even in the Babri case, the Supreme Court judgment is not based on any ASI finding. When you are deciding the title, you are not deciding the title on the basis of digging. And the ASI report there also did not say that any Hindu temple of Lord Rama was demolished to construct the mosque. But in the same judgment, Supreme Court makes a reference to 1991 Places of Worship Act. And there Supreme Court says that this act is in furtherance of a basic structure of the constitution, which is secularism. So the idea is that other than the Babri Mosque case, as per 1991 Act, whatever was the status of any place of worship on 15th August 1947, that status will not be changed. Now, in this case, there has been some litigation, there have been some compromises. Therefore, ideally, we should go by that. But if that is not happening, I only hope that the Muslim community does not commit the same mistake which they committed in the Babri Mosque. A local dispute should remain a local dispute, and local Muslims should sit with the fellow countrymen there and sort it out.
Okay, there. All right. Shant Prakash Jatavji, is that the point that from what the courts have said in the past is that the status of a religious structure, whether it's a masjid or a mandir, whatever the status was there in 1947, that is something that needs to be respected. Do you believe we need to accept the historical past over here, that this has always been a masjid at least well after 1947?
देखिए, वो जगह जहां पर मस्जिद बनी हुई है वो साफ दिखाई दे रही है कि वहां पहले मंदिर था, और चूंकि वहां पर मंदिर था और जो वहां पर पूजा की जो परंपराएं चलती थी उसी को पुनः लागू करने के लिए, शुरू करने के लिए 5 महिलाओं ने अभी एक कोर्ट में पिटीशन डाला है। और जाहिर सी बात है कि कोर्ट भी उस सब चीजों को तफ्तीश करने के लिए उन्होंने निर्देश किया कि भाई आप सर्वे कर लें, और उसके बाद में जिसका जैसा हिस्सा है और जिसकी जैसी जरूरत हो उसको उस हिसाब से दे दिया जाए। इसमें दोनों पक्षों को धैर्य रखना चाहिए, सर्वे हो जाना चाहिए। सर्वे होने के बाद में जो रिपोर्ट आए उसके आधार पर देखो कितना शांत बढ़िया तरीके से राम मंदिर का मसला निपटा, उसी तरीके से ये मसला भी निपट जाए। दोनों पक्ष जो हैं इसमें बैठ करके एक दूसरे को सहयोग करें। इस तरीके से राजनीति करने के लिए जो लोग उतर आए हैं और वहां पर जो वहां के समाज को भड़का रहे हैं, ये ठीक नहीं है। जो एक्चुअल में फैक्ट्स एंड फिगर है, कोर्ट उसमें इंटरफेयर कर रहा है, जांच होने दें, और जांच होने के बाद में क्रिस्टल क्लियर हो जाएगा। मंदिर है तो मंदिर के लिए जो मुस्लिम परिवार है, हमारे मुस्लिम समाज के साथी हैं, वो वहां पर उसको सहयोग करें। हमने साथ ही तो रहना है।
All right, we have to work together. I take that point. Athar Hussain, the argument which has been raised is that this that if anyone is to go in and film in the masjid itself, you have argued that it's illegal. Why is that the case?
Well, first of all, I just want to extend on what Professor Mustafa has said. And I am very clear about this, that on 9th November 2019, when the constitutional bench gave the Ayodhya judgment, and when it awarded the Ram Janambhoomi to the Hindu side, and they made it very clear in 1048 pages judgment that the verdict itself converts the principle of non-retrogression of rights, as it underscored that it is not open to raking up all kinds of dispute pertaining to the religious nature of a place of worship at any time. The non-retrogression principle holds that the government may extend beyond that the constitution requires. This is what the verdict said very clearly when it guaranteed that all the places of worship, which as mentioned in the Places of Worship Act, will be as per the nature what they had on 15th August 1947. And the Gyanvapi Mosque or any other mosque or any other place, I would say any church or any Jain mandir or the Buddhist mandir, will be now guided by this Ayodhya verdict of 9th November 2019.
Right.
I, as Secretary
so
of
therefore, why
Indo-Islamic
should we be
Culture,
looking at 1947 when there is an immediate precedent of the verdict on Babri?
Yeah, that's what I am saying. As it is mentioned in this verdict, except for the Ram Janambhoomi, they have left, and the verdict of 9th November 2019 very clearly says that the Places of Worship Act has been given a guarantee as a basic structure of the Constitution. So,
So under the Places of Worship Act, sir, what you are saying is that it is illegal for anybody to film inside the masjid because it either desecrates or it changes the identity of the masjid. That's what you're saying.
And I'm saying that to raise any dispute on any religious places of worship, it's not, it's like violation of the 9th November 2000 verdict.
Okay, got that. I take that point. I want to get Geeta Bhatt to reply to that. Would you respond to that from a legal standpoint, despite what the judgment, the Babri Masjid judgment has to say, the argument being raised is by going in with cameras and conducting anything else over there in terms of a survey, the Places of Worship Act is being violated.
Thanks for having me on the program. Well, I wish to put forth one point here. First, coming to what has been discussed, is that I want to put forth that the Supreme Court of India had given a judgment regarding the bursting of crackers during Diwali, which many among us...
Geeta ji, I'm coming back to you in 30 seconds. Your audio is a bit bad. Your audio is a bit bad. I'm fixing that. Sudhindra Bhadoria, would you like to take that question, sir? That despite what the judgment on Babri actually had to say, that there is a legal precedent, places of worship, including what Babri has said. They've referred to that. Therefore, getting into this masjid in the manner being proposed is illegal. Do you believe it is?
Well, I would say that it is very clear after 1991, there is a law of the land now. There is a constitution. And let me also say this, that we have existed side by side for centuries together, and it is not only Hindus and Muslims, it is Buddhists, it is Sikhs, and there are so many other religious groups as well. So, once the Parliament has passed a law, I think it should be respected by one and all. And as far as the interpretation of the law is concerned, there are different legal bodies, and more particularly the Supreme Court recent verdict should be respected by one and all. I want that whichever be the government, in whichever be the state, I think they should act with firmness, that they should not allow any conflict between any religious group, and that should be avoided. I think we are, as it is across the globe, treading on a very serious conflict path. Therefore, within our country, we should avoid all such things which can
I take that
lead
point,
tomorrow
sir. Geetaji,
to a situation of
sure.
conflict.
Geetaji, we've got your line back. You know, in addition to what I was asking, you had also made the submission that before the demolition of the Babri Masjid, you know, there was a time when people in this temple complex from the Kashi Vishwanath temple used to enter this mosque and vice versa. There was free movement of people, and the question of a difference didn't really exist. Isn't it sad now that we would be in a situation where we are talking about this is mine and not yours?
No, you see, I want to put forth first that there was, you know, in this context that there was a Supreme Court judgment, Vishnuji, where it was said that regarding the bursting of crackers, where it was banned, you know, and many of us were very badly hurt about this verdict. But nevertheless, since it was the Supreme Court's decision, it had to be respected. Although there were ample number of scientific reports which very well said that the crackers, their contribution to pollution in the environment is nothing in comparison to the large number of other factors. Now, here there is a particular court order which says that they are simply asking to do a videography of the inside premises, and there are certain people who are saying they want to do. No one is asking for any kind of a demolition or anything. It is they are simply going inside and, you know, saying that we want to pray over there. And the court is saying, let us do a videography and try to see. There are 2 cellars which have been locked. They want that, you know, they should also be inspected. Now, those who are resisting it, isn't it a contempt of court order? My counter argument is, isn't that a contempt, first of all, a contempt of court order? And as far as, you see, I mean, there are a large number of reports of the Archaeological Survey of India which show that, you know, whenever invaders came, there were thousands of temples have been destroyed and there other monuments or mosques have been made over them. They are documented also. There are many historians like Jadunath Sarkar.
But in the case of this particular, but Geetaji, in the case of this particular masjid, while it was demolished earlier on, there are also reports that the Emperor Akbar helped rebuild it.
Well, you see, then why is it that the mosque, the committee is actually asking for the removal of the court commissioner who has to come and you do the videography? The judge has to actually say that if required, I will come if the community is not allowing to go inside and make the survey. Why is this fear of not allowing the commissioner to go inside and make a videography?
All right. All right, Geeta, I'm running short on time. Geeta ji, just one final question to Ajay Gautam. Ajay ji, the most important thing is peace. इस बारे में आप कुछ कहेंगे? कल एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण कोर्ट जजमेंट आने वाला है और काफी टेंशन है वहां वाराणसी में. आपको इस बारे में कुछ कहना है? People should be calm.
Vishnu ji, my 2 Guru sisters, Shadvi Purnamba and Shadvi Shardamba, has filed the petition. They are the 2 in the 5 of the petitioner before the court concerned. Issue is that many act has been formed and many act has been destroyed, and many act has been become ultra virus, and so that is not an issue. We are before the court concerned. The Worship Act 1991 has been ultra virus and null and void because my constitution has been come first, and thereafter this act has become come thereafter. And as far as concerned to the secular word, it has been interpolated in the constitution, interpolated in the constitution in a many year of the when the constitution has been formed. As far as concerned to the local people of the Varanasi, I am also belong to the Varanasi. We do not have any kind of tension or any communal tension between the communities, and we believe in this thing. What is the fact and what is the truth? It may be come out before the public at large. This is about my fundamental right. This is my right about the worship, right to worship, which is guaranteed by the Constitution. As far as concerned to the mosque, 90% mosque in this country has constructed over the Hindu.
So do we therefore go and destroy all of these mosques, sir?
No. We are not saying we are going to destroy. We are approaching the court of law.
Okay. And I think that's a key point, and I think that's the key trigger point, and that is the worry on the basis of what has happened in this country in the past. I'm short of time on this. I'd like to thank you all very much for joining us. Tomorrow is a key court verdict is expected. A court order is expected. Perhaps looking at when that survey can actually take place. Will it actually be allowed? Lots of comments on coup coming in. Abhishek writes in, says, we will dig the past until we get our rights. Bibu Bose says, people bring up the past when they are intimidated by the present. Dig the past at your own peril. We will only lead to digging their own graves. There's a retired banker who writes in, says, we have to correct the past wrongs. We do not accept 1991. Every wrong has to be corrected. We'll be looking out very, very closely on that judgment tomorrow. We're out of time on Left, Right and Centre. No Spin up next. Stay tuned.